Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first time you're stopping in, hello and welcome. My name is Kelly. I make a lot of cooking and cleaning videos over here. Today's video, I'm going to be doing some meal prep / freezer cooking. If you watch my dump and go crock pot meal videos, you know that I talk a lot about prepping your produce and your meat ahead of time to stock in the freezer so that those recipes are easier to throw in your crock pot and just go. I'm going to show you guys how I prepare all of that, and I'm also going to be preparing a few extra things we like to have done for the week so that it just makes life a little simpler. I know these kind of videos give me a lot of motivation, so I'm hoping that my video will do the same for you. First up, I'm going to start with the meat. I always like to buy in bulk from Sam's, or if I can't make it to Sam's, I buy what's on sale that week. So this week, my local grocery store had some ground beef and some chicken breast on sale, which was perfect because that's the majority of what we cook with at our house. So I'm going to start by browning up 1 pack of this ground beef, which equals about 3 pounds. And then the rest I'm going to store away in 1 pound portions, so that we have some that's not cooked just in case we want to have some for other things like burgers or meatloaf, etc. I never like to cook all of my meat that I have on hand, just so I still have other options for different things. For the chicken, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to boil a couple of pieces to shred up so that we can have that in the freezer and ready to go. And most of my crock pot recipes call for shredded chicken, so I wanted to have some in the freezer and ready to go. The rest of the chicken I'm going to cut in half since these were rather large pieces. I'm going to store them into some fold top bags. You can find these with the Ziploc bags at Walmart. And I like these because I can just pick up the chicken without touching it, and then I can just take and fold the bag down over it. And I like to do that to each individual piece so that whenever I store them, they don't stick to each other in the bag. That way I can grab out however many pieces I want to use and not have to thaw the entire bag to get out what I need. And for the ground beef, I'm just portioning out about 1 pound per bag. I used my last 4 fold top bags with the chicken, so I'm just using regular Ziploc bags until I can pick up some more. Now that my ground beef is done, I'm going to let the fat drain off. I do have a bowl sitting under my strainer so it's not going into the sink drain. And then once it cools down, I'm going to start putting it into bags as well, into 1 pound portions. Using the same pan, I needed to brown up 1 pound of sausage for some sausage biscuits I'm going to be making later in the video to have in the freezer. So I'm just going to get that browned up. We also like to have pre-cooked bacon stored in the fridge for the week, although it typically don't last for about 2 or 3 days. But it's still nice to have in the fridge, especially on busy mornings. And I never like to cook my bacon on the stove. I've been burnt too many times, so I learned to put it in the oven, and it comes out just the same. And the little rolled up packages, this is how we buy it at Sam's. It comes on these paper sheets, and then we just roll it up and stick it into freezer bags. So that's why I'm unrolling the bacon. This probably equals a good 3 pounds of bacon. Now that my ground beef is cooled, I'm just portioning it out about a pound each into bags, and then we'll have some pre-cooked ground beef ready to go for chili or spaghetti or anything that calls for ground beef. I've showed this before in my cooking videos, but I like to shred my chicken with my hand mixer. It takes maybe 2 seconds and it saves so much time. If there's one thing I dread when I cook, it's shredding chicken, but this hand mixer is a game changer. And like the ground beef, I'm going to portion it out about a pound per bag. One thing that has always been a favorite of mine is cheese that I shred myself. We do buy the shredded cheese in the bag for convenience sometimes, but there's nothing like fresh shredded cheese. It's so much better than the bag cheese. It's cheaper and it takes no time to shred. I'm shredding this entire 2-pound block, and then I'll just store it away in a gallon bag, and then we'll have it throughout the week as we need it. Okay, now I'm gonna be making some sausage biscuits. These are so good. My friend over at Serving Up Simplicity actually made these over on her YouTube channel in a recent video, and they are so delicious. I'll link her channel down below if you guys want to check her out. She makes lots of yummy freezer meals over on her channel, so I think you guys will really enjoy her channel. I'm going to list out all the ingredients here on the screen for you to screenshot if you like, but just to let you know, I am working on publishing a blog very soon that will have any and all recipes I use here on my channel for your reference. I've tried linking the recipes in the description box, but I'm having trouble with the links lately. Some of you haven't been able to pull them up. So to fix the problem, I'm just going to publish a blog for you guys to access. And then, like I said, I'm also going to list the ingredients here on the screen for you as well if you just want to screenshot. I really hope that that'll make things easier for you guys when you're planning out your meals and doing your grocery shopping. As I was measuring out my bacon mix, I didn't realize there was only exactly 2 cups left in the bag, which is exactly what I needed, or I wouldn't have even bothered with my measuring cup. But as I poured, that's when I realized. Like I said, these are so good to have in the freezer for breakfast or even a snack. You can just take 1 or 2 out at the time and microwave it for a few seconds, or you can even pop them in a little toaster oven. My personal favorite way to reheat them is in the air fryer. You just want to be careful because they don't take very long at all. I've been liking these in the morning with a little bit of syrup drizzled on top with a glass of orange juice, and that's been my breakfast lately. They're so good. When they were done and cooled, I just bagged them up and labeled the bag, and I put the date they were made. I would say that these last about 2 months in the freezer, but to be honest, they don't last long enough around here for me to really know. The bacon, you can store this any way you prefer. I'm just placing mine into a paper towel lined container with a lid, and it'll last us about 2 to 3 days depending. Now for my produce, I like to have things pre-chopped and ready to go. It saves me a lot of time during the week, and it can all be stored in the freezer. So when it comes time for cooking, all I have to do is pull it out of the freezer and half the work is already done. I especially love to do this for my dump and go crock pot recipes. I'm starting with peeling and slicing up a bag of carrots. Once I have that done, I'm gonna let them boil for about 3 minutes, also known as blanching. And that's just so that they hold their flavor while they're in the freezer. After 3 minutes, I'm gonna let them drain and cool, and then I will get those bagged up. And I like to freeze my carrots like this because most of the time when I buy a bag of carrots for a recipe, I only need 1 or 2 carrots at the time, and the rest risk being wasted. So this way I know that they're gonna hold until I need them again. Since peppers and onions are another frequently called for ingredient, I'm gonna chop up 3 of each, and I'm gonna bag those for the freezer as well. We've never blanched these for the freezer, and we've never had any problems with them losing their flavor. I don't know how well blanching would work out for peppers and onions. I personally would think that the texture of them might change since they're being boiled during the blanching process, but that's just my own thoughts. We put them straight into the freezer, and we've never had any problems. Another thing that we like to have prepped ahead of time is lettuce. We have salads as sides a lot with our meals, so it helps a ton to have it chopped and ready to go. After I have it chopped, I'm just going to give it a rinse, and I'm going to use the salad spinner to drain it really good. Once I have all the water spun out, I'm going to take and place a paper towel into a Ziploc bag to absorb any moisture, and then I'm going to place the lettuce inside of the bag, and it'll hold up for probably a good week in the fridge. So this is something that my kids like to snack on quite a bit, and that's cheese. I could buy the prepackaged cheese sticks, but that's just a little bit pricey to me. So what I like to do is, once again, I buy the blocks of cheese. Our favorite is Colby Jack, and I just cut it into little sticks. Like I said, my kids love to eat these for snack, and they also work out well for lunches. One thing I get asked frequently is the recipe we use for homemade ranch. I don't remember the last time we bought ranch in the bottle. This is too easy to make and it's so much better. So the recipe that we use is actually the recipe that's on the back of the ranch mix container. And that's 1.5 tablespoons of ranch mix, 1/2 cup of milk, and 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. And you just whisk it together really well and then refrigerate for an hour to let it thicken up, and voila, homemade ranch, way too easy. Okay, moving on, I'm going to show you guys a great freezer meal to have on hand for a quick dinner. We had some tortilla shells that needed to be used before they expired, so we decided to make chicken enchilada casseroles for the freezer. We're starting off making our cheese sauce. For that, you'll need 1/2 stick of butter, some milk, cheese, flour, a can of Rotel. I'm starting by melting down my butter, and once it's melted, I started slowly sprinkling in my flour and whisking it into the butter. I don't know the exact measurements of flour, I just know it's equal parts flour and butter. And I'm also adding in some salt and pepper for flavor, and then I'm gonna whisk in a can of Rotel. And now that the Rotel is in, I'm gonna start slowly whisking in some milk. Not too much at the time, as you don't want the consistency of the sauce to be too thin. So I'm just slowly adding in while I continue to whisk. Once I think I have enough milk, I'm gonna add in a couple good handfuls of cheese and mix that in, and that's all there is to the cheese sauce. And this is what will be poured on top of the enchiladas after they're rolled. And for the filling, we just shredded up 2 cooked boneless, skinless chicken breast, seasoned it with taco seasoning, and poured in another can of Rotel and mixed it all together really well. And then we're going to start filling the tortillas and rolling them up and placing them into a greased disposable baking pan. We're going to pour the cheese sauce on top, sprinkle with a little shredded cheese, cover with foil, and label. And we were actually able to get 2 pans out of this. One last thing we like to have prepped and in the freezer is peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I used to think this was so silly because how much time does it really take to put together a peanut butter and jelly? But trust me when I say it really does save time having these prepped and ready to throw in a lunchbox or pull out for a snack. It's also a great way to use up bread that may be expiring soon. And this is also something that the kids can help with. It doesn't have to be perfect. And it not only includes them in the meal prep process, but it really does help to let them do this. And we either just set them out to thaw or we reheat in the microwave for about 20 seconds. If I'm gonna pack them in Kai's lunch, I just throw it in the lunchbox frozen and then it's thawed by lunchtime. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this motivated you to get some meal prep done. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell to be notified every time I upload. I hope you all have a great day and I will see you in the next video. Bye.